This is Tales and Whispers, where every story is felt, not just heard.
When we think of heroes, we often picture capes or uniforms. But sometimes real courage comes in these smallest packages. Today we're talking about an incredible true story of a 5-year-old, a fire, and one simple lesson that ended up saving 2 lives. So let's set the scene. The year is 2016. It's a cold morning in February. That time of day when the world is just still. Everything's quiet and dark. And we're zeroing in on this one quiet home in Louisiana. Inside, a family is fast asleep. Just a totally normal, peaceful night. But then, that peace is just shattered. A piercing, relentless sound cuts through the silence. It's the fire alarm, and it's screaming that something is very, very wrong. A 5-year-old named Chloe Woods opens her eyes, but she's not waking up to morning light. She's waking up to a house thick with smoke. Turns out, a faulty stove in the kitchen has started a fire, and the danger is very, very real. Now, here's the situation. Chloe's mom is actually out at that moment, taking her brother to the bus stop. So, Chloe is alone in the house with her grandmother. This begs the question, what does a 5-year-old do when thrown into a situation like this? And think about that for a second. It's not just a fire. She's trapped with her grandmother, who is blind and is going to need help to get out. What do you think is the first instinct for a kid in that spot? Well, for most kids, it would be sheer panic, right? You'd hide, you'd cry, you'd probably just freeze and wait for a grown-up to come and save you. That would be the expected reaction. But that's not what Chloe did. Instead, something just clicked in her head. Her mind jumped back to something she'd learned just a few months before, a school field trip to the local fire department. And amidst all that smoke and the blaring alarm, one simple phrase from one of the firefighters cut through all the noise. Escape quickly and don't waste time. That single sentence became her entire game plan. And with that one rule in her head, Chloe just went. She sprang into action. And what she did next, for someone so young, was nothing short of an incredible act of leadership. She didn't even hesitate. She bolted straight to her grandmother's room. And with a voice that was way calmer than you'd expect, she woke her up and told her they had to leave, right now. Since her grandmother couldn't see the danger, Chloe told her, "Put your hand on my shoulder," getting ready to lead her out. Okay, so as they're heading for the door, her grandmother, who's probably pretty disoriented, tries to stop to grab her shoes. But Chloe was firm. She just said, "No, there's no time." And that seems like such a small thing, but in a fire, that tiny decision, that can literally be the difference between getting out and not. So they get outside, they're breathing fresh air, they're safe. But for Chloe, the job wasn't done. She realized someone else was still trapped in the house. I mean, can you believe this? She's 5 years old, she just saved herself and her grandmother from a burning building, and her mind is still running through a checklist. So first things first, she makes sure her grandma is a safe distance from the house. Then she turns right back around, calls for her dog, Coco, and gets him out too. And even then, she's not done. She immediately runs to the neighbors, starts banging on their doors and yelling for someone to call for help. Her focus was just absolute. So when the fire department finally gets there, they find Chloe and her grandmother totally safe, all because of her clear-headed actions. And this really brings us to the core of the whole story. What does being a hero actually look like? Well, you don't have to take my word for it. The fire chief, John Helmers, said it perfectly. He stood in front of everyone, reporters, the community, and just said it plain as day. Chloe's actions and her actions alone saved 2 lives that day. And that's really what this story teaches us about heroism, isn't it? It has nothing to do with your age or how strong you are. Heroism is just making the right call in one very difficult, very crucial second. So what's the big lesson here? Well, it's just how powerful it is to teach safety rules from a young age. That one little phrase from a school field trip literally became a lifeline. And it's a powerful reminder for all of us, right? In a crisis, things can be replaced. Possessions don't matter. A life does. You can always buy new shoes, but you can't replace a person. So I'll just leave you with this to think about. We all have these little bits of information stored away in our brains, stop, drop, and roll, or look both ways before you cross the street. What's a simple lesson that you've learned that could, maybe one day, make all the difference?